The movie, set in the year 2147 AD, opens amidst a catastrophic event that has befallen Earth. The planet is masked in darkness as hostile aliens descend from the sky, overpowering every continent. These invaders wreak havoc, causing widespread destruction and chaos. This crisis transcends all boundaries of race and nationality. The front line of this battle is bolstered by advanced robots. The powerful heat weapons deployed by the humans prove ineffective against the alien onslaught. The last stronghold of human resistance is a military base located in West China. The film then transitions to an intense battlefield scene where two soldiers, Director Chen and a female soldier named Shu, are engaged in fierce combat alongside their robotic counterparts. They face overwhelming odds against the alien forces. In a desperate move to even the odds, Director Chen employs a mechanical arm to fight an alien. Utilizing his unique kung fu skills, Chen manages to weaken the alien, and Shu delivers the finishing blow. However, time is of the essence as the transportation channel they rely on is on the brink of closure. Despite orders from Mission Control to shut down the channel, Chen and Shu narrowly escape, making it through just as the doors seal shut. They then proceed to Mission Control, where they receive commendations for their bravery. During the briefing, it becomes evident that the human weapons are barely effective against the constantly evolving aliens. The only successful combat technique is hand-to-hand combat using Kung Fu. Director Chen acknowledges the effectiveness of Kung Fu, but points out the impracticality of training all soldiers in this ancient martial art. An innovative proposal is then put forward to teach Kung Fu to the robots. Chen suggests uploading the skill to a chip, allowing rapid duplication. However, he notes that even his Kung Fu might not be enough, as the supreme Kung Fu skill has been lost over time. The solution proposed is to send a robot back in time to learn the best Southern Kung Fu from Master Zhou and transmit these skills to the present. To ensure the robot doesn't alarm people from the past, it is given the appearance of Director Chen, the only human known to have defeated an alien. The robot is tasked with a mission to travel back to the year 1885, find Master Zhou, learn Kung Fu, store the skills on a chip, and ensure the chip's survival through centuries of attacks. A critical caveat is programmed into the robot. It will self-destruct if it ever kills a human being. Director Chen informs the robot that this is a one-way journey, cautioning it not to alter the course of history. The moment arrives for the robot to be sent back in time to learn Southern Kung Fu. As the final preparations are underway, everyone is taken aback when Shu decides to join the robot on its time travel mission. Despite attempts to halt the process, the countdown has already begun, and Shu insists on accompanying the robot, believing it will benefit from her assistance. The two are then sent hurtling through time. Upon arrival, the robot lands amidst a war and quickly adapts to its surroundings by wearing the clothes of a deceased soldier to blend in. Meanwhile, Shu finds herself at a camp with French soldiers who are enjoying a meal by the fire. The robot, named Ji after a name he reads on a sword, approaches the camp and is mistakenly believed to be a spy. Shu jumps into action, fighting the soldiers, while Ji tries to convince them of his harmless intentions. Zhou, a renowned Kung Fu master, enters the scene, and Ji is introduced to him as a deserter. Wasting no time, Ji requests Zhou to teach him Southern Kung Fu. Zhou, however, is not interested in taking on apprentices. A woman observes that Ji has been shot but is unharmed thanks to the dead soldier's clothes he's wearing. When Ji hears Shu fighting nearby, he rushes to her aid, leading to a confrontation at the camp of Zhou's enemies. After a fierce battle, Ji instructs Shu to flee for safety. Following these events, Ji gains a level of respect within the camp and is told he might receive an award from the general. However, Ji's only desire is to learn Kung Fu from Zhou. He learns that the woman who earlier called him a deserter is Zhou's daughter. Ji makes another attempt to persuade Zhou, emphasizing his unique abilities and resilience. Despite his promises of being an exemplary apprentice, Zhou refuses, still haunted by the loss of his first apprentice and unwilling to guide another young man. At night, Ji confides in Shu about Zhou's refusal. Shu suggests that he try befriending Zhou's daughter Xiaohua to gain Zhou's favor. Ji approaches Xiaohua with a rare fruit as a gift and learns about Zhou's first apprentice, who was expected to become the next master before his untimely death in battle. With Zhou's refusal to teach him, Ji decides to learn from Xiaohua instead. However, she is reluctant, fearing Zhou's reaction. Meanwhile, the camp receives news of the French retreat, and the soldiers prepare to return to the city. Upon their arrival in the city, Ji and the others receive a warm welcome. While Ji and Xiaohua's friendship grows, Shu consistently urges Ji to win over Zhou. Ji eventually convinces Xiaohua to ask her uncle, Zhou, to teach them some kung fu. Zhou's elder brother reluctantly agrees, and Ji quickly masters the lessons due to his robotic nature. Ji then approaches Shu, revealing he has been tasked by Chen to protect her and impart his newly acquired kung fu knowledge to her. Shu agrees to learn from Ji, marking a new phase in their journey and mission. Soon after, the tension escalates when Zhou's brother is brutally attacked by a mysterious masked man. Ji, the robot with enhanced hearing abilities, rushes to the scene but is quickly overpowered by the assailant, suffering a malfunction in the process. He helplessly watches as the masked man kills Zhou's brother and flees. The next day, Zhou is desperate for answers about his brother's death and questions Ji's timely arrival at the scene. Ji fabricates a story, claiming he was born with the ability to hear from a distance, but Zhou remains unconvinced and dismisses him. Later, Shu visits the dojo under a pretense and confronts Ji about a video message he failed to receive. Ji explains that his memory is currently occupied with learning kung fu. Shu shares her observations about the masked assassin, noting his use of a peculiar kung fu technique that can manipulate the brain. Despite her research, she is unable to find any information on this technique, which she suspects might be a supernatural skill. She warns Ji to be vigilant and cautious of the masked assassin. Ji seeks out Master Zhou's wisdom on whether there exists a kung fu skill capable of mind manipulation. Zhou acknowledges the vast and profound nature of kung fu, explaining that such unique abilities are possible but only attainable at a high level of mastery. Ji inquires about this level, and Zhou describes it as an intangible state, similar to the feeling of humidity before rain. He advises that mastery of Southern Kung Fu requires not only physical skill, but also an absorption of nature's essence, including mountains, rivers, and celestial bodies. Self-cultivation is crucial, and Zhou suggests that Ji also learn calligraphy to complement his kung fu training. The narrative then shifts to the return of the French soldiers and the need for the fighters to head to the front lines. Ji is assigned a task with Zhou's eldest brother, who is also skilled in Southern Kung Fu. However, before Ji can join him, the masked man lures him out and attacks. As Ji waits for Zhou's eldest brother, the masked man methodically kills his men. When Ji realizes something is amiss, he rushes to their aid but arrives too late. Zhou's elder brother has already been injured. In the ensuing battle, Ji faces the masked man, and Zhou's elder brother recognizes Ji's fighting style as Chenlin's Southern Kung Fu. The masked man ultimately defeats Ji and kills Zhou's elder brother before making his escape. The following day, Ji informs Zhou that the assassin utilized Southern Kung Fu, a fact that perplexes them both. Zhou then agrees to train Ji, who learns rapidly but still has much to master. Zhou sends Ji to the mountains to achieve higher levels of skill. To enhance Ji's training, Shu installs emotions in him, but these newfound feelings, particularly a romantic interest in Xiaohua. The narrative reaches a climactic turn when Zhou's first apprentice, previously thought dead, unexpectedly returns. He reveals he was saved by a Frenchman named Duran after being shot. An event is set up to determine the king of Southern Kung Fu, drawing masters from various regions into a competitive ring. The apprentice gifts the general a machine gun, a potent weapon that could turn the tide in battles against the French. The Kung Fu competition commences, with the apprentice demonstrating his exceptional skills by defeating master after master with apparent ease. His victories continue until Zhou himself enters the ring. During the intense fight, Zhou notices an unusual red glow in the apprentice's eye. devise. Ji intervenes and challenges the apprentice himself. Their battle is fierce and evenly matched, resulting in a draw. They agree to resume the fight the next day. In a revealing conversation with Zhou, Ji admits he is a robot and showcases his mechanical body. He explains his mission to Zhou, who agrees to assist him. That night, a shocking turn of events unfolds as Duran and the masked man, revealed to be the apprentice, attack a war meeting with the machine gun. Ji confronts the masked man and discovers he is an alien transmitting his brainwaves to this era. Duran is killed in the confrontation, and Ji accuses the apprentice of being responsible for the deaths of the previous masters. Zhou later tells Ji that his kung fu skills have peaked and encourages him to leave. However, Ji insists on staying to help fight the French, believing the apprentice is possessed. Zhou dismisses this notion. Meanwhile, Ji argues with Shu, who urges him to master his skills further and cautions him against altering history. Shu gives Ji a chip to place in a designated location and increases his ability to control his emotions. However, she secretly disables him and takes the chip herself. Shu heads out, but soon finds herself caught in a fierce battle where the apprentice leads the French towards the town. Zhou and his men courageously confront the enemy, but they are met with gunfire. Ji regains consciousness and rushes to join the fight. In the midst of the battle, Shu is injured, and Xiaohua sacrifices herself in an attempt to stop the apprentice. The apprentice then reveals his true alien form and kills Xiaohua. Zhou is also incapacitated by a bomb. In the final showdown, Ji faces off against the apprentice. The fight intensifies, and the apprentice attempts to attack Shu. Ji defends her, and they engage in a brutal combat with the apprentice. In a moment of vulnerability, Shu is left hanging from a wall, and Ji tries to save her. The apprentice seizes this opportunity to stab Ji. Despite being outnumbered, Ji musters his remaining strength and defeats the apprentice, while Shu places the chip in the designated location. In violating his programming by killing a human, Ji triggers his self-destruct mechanism. Back in the future, the military base is under siege by the aliens, and centuries later, Chen retrieves it. The movie concludes with Ji's kung fu expertise being transmitted to all the robots, equipping them with the skills necessary to turn the tide in the war against the alien invaders.